TJ. It's a pleasure to meet you. I am a Valley girl. I'm a Fresno native, so I'm always excited to see other Central Valley people coming out in full swing and doing what they need to do for our communities and for our country. Just for those who don't know, TJ Cox, they're running for Congress out of District 21. They are out of the San Joaquin Valley, which is Kings County and portions of Fresno. I'm a Fresno girl, so I'm excited to see you in particular. I know a lot of my friends are voting for you and are excited to have some change, especially in that seat in particular. I'd love for you to introduce yourself and then also share with us when you had that pivotal moment when you decided to become a proponent of cannabis.
Well, no, thanks so much, Felicia and Susan, for having me here today. I tell you what. I tell you what. I grew up in Nevada, and when I was in college, cannabis, marijuana, was a felony. Possession was a felony. And then, then I had an opportunity to work overseas in Africa. And I can tell you, where there was a lot of cannabis, but there's only a very small cohort of the population used it, right? And I mean, it was widely available, but there wasn't, these what the other side was maybe saying that, hey, if it was legalized or if there was widespread availability, that everybody would be all drugged out and all that sort of stuff. And then after I got married to my wife, who's a physician, a pediatric ICU physician, who was describing the medicinal benefits of marijuana and about how really how effective it was and how with utility it was compared to the other things that she could prescribe, and to see that this was a Schedule 1, on Schedule 1, which is just ludicrous. So it's something that I've been very interested in, and certainly here in California, how it's been evolving and how California has been really leading the, I guess, the nation with respect to the acceptance and really about how to develop this industry, particularly for the benefit of communities and our disadvantaged communities. And so coming from the top agricultural district in America, with so many of the disadvantaged communities, I see this as such a great opportunity to be able to bring back a little bit of equity, justice, and economic growth to so many regions in our country, not only here, but our cities. And so happy to be here to learn. I don't know enough about the industry at all. And that's what the next few months, I really want to really see if I can't educate myself in utilizing the association here to be able to provide me that critical input. Because the fact of the matter is that if there is a change in the White House and a change in the Senate, and we maintain the Congress, there's going to be just basically just a monumental seismic shift in the with respect to the cannabis industry. I mean, the MORE Act is going to be passed, the SAFE Act is going to be passed, and I can see that that once those are passed, there's all kinds of capital that's going to become available. The banking issue goes away, the 280E issues go away, and all that sort of stuff. And I want to make sure that the industry stays true to, I think, its original roots, which is the small businessman helping out these communities, and it's not taken over by the Altrias or Philip Morrises and the Campbells of the world. So certainly happy to be here today to learn and get the input from you.
We're super excited. So guys, Susan just let us know that TJ would like to tour more cannabis businesses, especially ones that are in his district. We know that his district lies in an area that oftentimes has banned cannabis and treats it like the evil leaf. I know, I'm from there, so I'm super familiar with the conversations that we've been having in area and the Central Valley in particular. So if any of you guys have access to any of these things and want to be able to share with TJ right now he wants to learn and grow from us, which is incredible. So thank you so much. You covered a lot of different things in terms of the questions that I was going to be asking as an outspoken proponent of social equity and how we transform this time for great healing, right? Like, what does transformational justice look like? So I'm going to ask you that hard-hitting question that I've asked a few of our other candidates regarding the big question. When will the amount of time and money spent on repair, i.e. expungement, reentry, social equity, community reinvestment, match and or surpass the amount of time and money spent on prohibition?
Huh, yeah. No, no, oh, no, thanks. Will we ever get to that point of equity? People want to talk about equality. Well, how about the equity? How about, like all the communities have been devastated by the war on drugs and people put in jail for what now people that were leading that fight are making profits from. To me, that is outrageous. And that's, that if we think about it, certainly, early part of next year, if we have a Democratic administration throughout, the MORE Act will be passed. All right, but it's going to be more, and certainly there's issues or particular pieces of MORE Act that are focusing on making sure that we have social justice and economic justice with respect to the cannabis industry. I mean, there are big forces at play that have got only one intention in mind, and that's to make a buck, right? And put more dollars back in their shareholders' pockets. And so that, I think, is the critical fight that's going to be coming up to make sure that we stay true to that mission. And that's something that I've done. Before I was a member of Congress, I had what was called a community development entity that would make, these strategic investments in our disadvantaged communities. And one of the things that we're really looking to utilize were CDFIs, the community development financial institutions, which are really unregulated banks, as being the financial institutions that could handle the marijuana industry because they aren't regulated by the U.S. banking laws. And that's something that we still continue to push today. But the larger issue of social justice is at the forefront of the work that I'm going to be pushing should the administration change come November.
Fantastic. Now you talked about like innovation. So independent of some of the things you've already been doing, if elected, what are you going to do to help continue to move the needle for this industry, social and economic justice?
Yeah, and just to be clear, yeah, if I'm reelected, right? Yeah, if I'm certainly hoping on that. And after winning the very last race called in the nation in 2018, and being stuck here between Devin Nunes on me with one side of me and Kevin McCarthy on the other, I've got a difficult road to hoe. But that's why I'm a member of Congress, frankly, is that I do a lot of things. I'm a businessman, and so I can certainly appreciate the small businesses that are out there that are trying to just stay profitable with the limitations that they have today about not being able to write off expenses, not having banking, high cost of capital, and so on. And I work on issues that matter to people with regard to immigration, water, and so on. But what pushes me more than anything else is really that sense of social justice. I could tell you is that my mom was one of the first equal opportunity officers for the state of Nevada. My grandmother back in the Philippines took it upon herself to open the first and only social club for our African American troops in Manila. She saw that they didn't have a place to go hang out, have a drink or a meal when they got off duty. And so my grandma said, hey, I'm just not going to stand around and watch this and say something about it. I'm going to go out and do something about it. And so that to make sure that this industry stays in a position that is delivering for the people in the community, and the people that have been overlooked before or really disadvantaged or put into jail or harmed because of their participation into something new that, into something that we all knew should have been legal and treated on the same parity as alcohol or other things over the last, like you said, 100+ years since Prohibition is something that's central to what I'm going to be focusing on.
Well, we're grateful for you. I've got another question because I know where you're at in particular. And a lot of other people are facing these same types of uphill battles with being able to talk to some of your colleagues or just elected officials as a whole. What are some of the best ways that we as a cannabis community and industry can engage engage elected officials and push them?
Yeah, no, thanks so much, Felicia. And here's something that I know, and it was one of the more eye-opening things that I learned when I got to Congress. When you get to Congress, certainly your first term, one of the a question that you get from everybody, hey, is what's the most surprising thing that you've learned since your time in Congress? And for me, it's how many of the Republican members, the older white guys, are using CBD. Right? When you're in the gym in the morning and one guy's talking about, oh, hey, have you used this for your arm? Oh yeah, no, I use this for a sleep aid. I use this and that, right? Across the board. And so the real medical benefits from this are widely accepted, and they know it. And certainly, and I can tell you, is that the members, particularly Republican members that are coming from tobacco states with the tobacco sales going down, looking for this to be able to replace a crop for the economic benefits is there as well. So I would expect with the change of administration that there is going to be widespread acceptance for this. And so to continue to advocate is really what I think that the industry has done a good job, because when you go to a dispensary, look, these are first-class operations. All right, you go in there and you see how much they have spent to make. It's not some seedy liquor store or anything like that. You know, these are Apple-looking type stores. The grow operations and the processing plants, which look like pharmaceutical operations, that they're so well run in the facilities that they're grown in. And so that just shows what a legitimate professional industry this is.
So we've got a question that came in from some of our attendees. One of the question is, social equity programs have been a failure for the most part due to lack of adequate structure. What would you do to ensure cities that offer equity programs are really serving the population? They're getting lots of state money for, and with this expansion federally, potentially, what would you do to ensure that all of these cities and states that are offering these programs are really serving the populations?
You know, it'd be something like I can tell you is that community benefits agreements, or just the qualifications that that would allow licensure or funding. You know, I'll tell you what, I deal a lot with federally qualified health centers. All right, and a federally qualified health center which delivers a critical services to underserved populations and disadvantaged communities, well, look at their board. Their board has to be reflective of that community. So you can't have, 11 white guys just on the board deciding, right, how that FQHC is going to deliver for the community. It's things like that that absolutely can be put in place, that have been effective now, that should be mirrored or reflected in the laws that we pass, the legislation that we pass for cannabis.
Well, thank you for that answer. I'm going to let you know, just as somebody who's recently done a community benefit analysis, that we've had a lot of poor actors. So as somebody who is sitting in Washington, I would challenge you to make sure that those community benefit agreements actually have some teeth to them, versus just allowing people to say that they're going to do something with no real accountability, because that's a little bit of where we've been. So thank you so much for your time. Good luck on this election. I'm excited to tell my friends that I had this conversation with you, and wish you well in November.
Great. Thanks for all you guys do. We'll look forward to catching up face to face very soon. All right.
Thank you.
Bye now.